Hi there, Andrew here. I love to be entertained, but I have no patience, so I give every new show I watch only one episode to hook me. Welcome to Debut Review. Today, I will be watching the first episode of Darling in the Franxx. Franxx. There's darling in it. There's darling in your Franxx. It's kids pilot giant mechs to save the world from giant monsters or aliens or something. It's an anime that's airing right now, and it's become fairly notorious, which is how it came onto my radar. Apparently, the kids pilot the mechs in male-female pairs, and like in Pacific Rift, they have to drift with each other or connect with each other. But the way they connect is, well, the guy sits in a chair and the girl gets on all fours in front of him, and he grabs onto her hips. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's read the show description here. See what we're getting into. The distant future! Humanity established the mobile fort city plantation upon the ruined wasteland. Within the city were pilot quarters, Mistiltine, otherwise known as the birdcage, because no one could pronounce it. That is where the children live. Ellipses. Their only mission in life was the fight. Their enemies are the mysterious giant organisms known as Kyoryu. The children operate robots known as Franxx in order to face these still unseen enemies. Wait. The children... Their only mission is the fight. Their enemies are the giant organisms known as the Kyoryu. And the children operate giant robots known as Franxx in order to face these still unseen enemies. Are they invisible? Do they just go out there and swing blindly? I don't know. Among them, the children, was a boy who was once called a child prodigy. I just spit on my tablet. Among them was a boy who was once called a child prodigy. Once called it? So no longer called a child prodigy. It's like, oh, wait, you're stupid. Or incompetent or something. Anyway, child prodigy, code number 016, Hero. One day, a mysterious girl called 02. Now I've got the Moon 02 theme running through my head. Have you ever seen Moon 02? It's terrible, but it's definitely worth seeing because it's one of those so terrible it's hilarious. And it opens with an animated sequence, and it has a title song. Moon 02. Oh, it's so good. See it if you can. Anyway, one day, mysterious girl called 02 appears in front of Hero. Quote, "I've found you, my darling." My guess is the voice actor for 02 does not sound anything like that. Okay, poster. Yeah, okay, bunch of kids in school uniforms, robot in the background. I'm guessing that's 02 in the back with the pink hair, and maybe horns? Does she have horns on her head? Or is she wearing a headband? Hard to tell. And we've got a kind of a unicorn robot in the back that looks like it has a face and it has boobs. They they built a bust into the robot. Okay. A lot of times you'll see robots or mechs feminized, with the more hourglass shape, or there will be kind of a shelf to what's the word I'm looking for? To remind, to insinuate, to imply a bust. No, just boobs. Robo boobs. But what I'm finding interesting is this facial expression. I'm kind of wondering what I want more. Do I want a robot that's constantly, has this facial expression? Or do I want a robot that has a malleable, expression-full face and a unicorn horn? I don't know. I'll be honest, I'm not expecting much from this. But then again, maybe it's popular beyond the silly way for reasons beyond the silly way that these kids pilot the mechs. Maybe it has a wonderful story and great action and cool characters. Or not. I'll let you know what I think. I don't like not liking things. I really don't. I didn't hate this, but I didn't like it. Now, granted, the conceit of the show is I'm only watching one episode and examining how well that initial episode intrigues me or interests me or convinces me to tune into the next episode, because that's kind of the job of a show's debut episode. I mean, you certainly can't judge the entire series based on its first episode, which is not what I'm doing. I'm judging the series' first episode by its first episode. And for me, this first episode was a bit of a dud. I think one of the biggest problems I had with this particular show, this first episode of the show, was it's visually unclear a lot of the times what the hell you're looking at or what is going on. A problem that doesn't really crop up until the last 6 minutes of the show, when one of the, what are they called? Kyoryu attack, which looks like it might be a robot of some sort, maybe? Kind of hard to tell. It's kind of a blue and black quadrupedal technorganic thing. There's a sequence where two of the kids, they're basically at the train station, and I'm going home, and she gets on the train and goes, but the train is like this big ball thing, which I thought was just a stationary building until I was like, oh wait, is that the transportation vessel? I mean, I appreciate that their design ethos is totally alien, something completely new, but it's kind of important that I know what I'm looking at. And then the Franxx, which looks like a robotic cat, which is kind of cool, I guess, attacks the big blue thing, the Kyoryu. And so the girl with the horns is in there with her partner, and the partner dies. And so she crashes her cat robot near our hero, who's like, no, you can't pilot it alone. I'll pilot it with you. Okay. So he does, and then the robot cat transforms into the be-boobed robot on the poster. The be-boobed robot with the face and unicorn horn. Because that happened. And then they fight, and then a thing blows up, and then there's this like red canister that flies up into the air, which the camera's focusing on, but I don't know what that is or what its significance is. and then there's like a yellow spike with a ball on it, and the ball slides off the spike. And I think the spike was like one of the Franxx's weapons, and I guess the ball that it pierced is like maybe the heart or brain or important bit of the Kyoryu. There's just a lot of that where you're confused as to what it is you're looking at. Also, there's some slightly interesting, while at the same time kind of frustrating, implications to the show. It kind of feels like these kids are like kidnapped from an orphanage and trained, brainwashed into, you must give your lives for the greater good. But apparently they've never seen the Franxx or the Kyoryu, which the description actually said, the as yet unseen. Yeah. And they're like, that's a Franxx. I'm like, you've been piloting them, but you don't know what they look like or what they do? I mean, I could buy none of us were able to transform our robot Franxx into the humanoid Franxx. Okay, but you didn't know it could do that? Was that not part of the class? Also, the kids who fail and drop out, are they killed? They're sent home or back to the orphanage. But some of the dialogue implies that we've never heard from any of them again. Are they killed? I mean, this may be answered later in the series, but it's just kind of weird. Also, the show throws a lot of terminology at you that's never explained. Again, maybe explained in later episodes, but I mean, the one I remember is they refer to something as a stampede when the Franxx comes out to fight the Kyoryu. She's like, who authorized a stampede? Or we didn't know the stampede. I'm like, what is a stampede? I mean, using context, is it launching one of the Franxx to fight the Kyoryu? Is that what it is? I don't know. And there's a lot of that. So the show just ends up kind of being confusing. Like, I don't know what that word means, and it's not explained, and it's not visually clear what it is, and there's a bunch of visual stuff happening, and I don't know what I'm looking at. I mean, for example, you do not see the Franxx until it's fighting a Kyoryu. So at first you're like, oh, is that another bad? Oh, wait, is that one of the robots that's being piloted? Because there's never like an establishing shot of it. You know? I mean, imagine, I don't know why it just popped into my head, but there's what feels like a 30-minute intro to the Star Trek movie. It's probably only a couple minutes, but it feels like half an hour of them establishing the Enterprise. So, however long that sequence is, whether it's a couple of minutes or half an hour long, you know what the Enterprise looks like, so when you see it later in the movie, you're not confused. You're like, that's the good guy's ship! Because they spent an entire sequence at the beginning of the movie saying, this is what the Enterprise looks like! This show doesn't do that. It's just, suddenly Franxx! And you just imagine if that sequence wasn't in there, and you just suddenly were thrust into a battle between the Enterprise ship and a bird of prey, and you had never seen either ship, and you're like, well, I guess the white one with the sleek lines is the good guy, and the darker colored one with the hard edges and stuff is the bad guy, because that's usually how things are coded, but yeah, didn't work for me. There's also a sequence at the very beginning where one of the conceits is I don't know if this is true. I seriously doubt it. Haven't looked up, but hey, the world's a weird and wacky place. Who knows? Apparently, according to the lore of the show at least, there is a bird, a one-winged bird, and one-winged birds suck because they can't fly. Stupid flightless birds. I think you're an ostrich or something. Anyway, so I guess luckily all males have left wings and all females have right wings, because the point is that these one-winged birds pair up and lean on each other to use... I don't know how the hell that works. It's not visually illustrated. Maybe it's supposed to be a fable in the context of this show. And the idea is relating to you need the two pilots to pilot the Franxx thing. Well, these kids live in like a biodome kind of thing, a glass-enclosed atrium. He's in like an outside foresty area, and he hears thump. I'm like, what was that? Sounded like a bird just flew into a window, and it's exactly what it was. He sees this big blood splat on the glass, and he wipes it from the inside. A bird just flew into the... I'm like, you're keeping birds in there? All right, cool. And I'm thinking, I've seen birds fly full tilt into windows before. I have never seen them leave blood. They just knock themselves out or knock themselves dead. This was just blood splatter all over the side of the biodome. Birds don't do that. And this bird just kind of flies off, and I just spit all over the place. And he follows a blood trail. I'm like, oh my god, what is with this bird bleeding? Like, I'm still spitting. Hang on. Music. Alright, so that bit of weirdness out of the way. Yeah, birds, I've never seen a bird just bleed like a stuck pig after ramming a window. But, you know, hey, anime, it's wacky. Let's see, what else? Oh, so the girl 02, she actually has horns. Because she's part... well, they don't call the Kyoryu, they call it... like... something Osaurus. Monsterosaurus or something like that. And they say at the very end, she has Monsterosaurus blood. And it's like, what? So did a human mate with the giant technorganic bull thing? What? What? I mean, at the very beginning of the show, you see a glimpse of her, and she has, like, kind of red, scaly skin, and I'm like, so is she a devil or demon or something? I don't know. Again, I'm sure it'll be explained. Really, what didn't work about this show for me is it doesn't set up a world that's intriguing. It's just confusing. You know, you watch it and it's like, I am not clear what even the premise is. At least from the first episode. So again, the first episode of a show doesn't have to spell everything out for you, but it should be interesting enough, exciting enough, intriguing enough, something enough to get you to watch the second episode. For me, this doesn't do that. I've no interest in watching the second episode. There's nothing in this. Design-wise, character-wise, action-wise, there's just nothing here that's like, ooh, I have to watch the second episode. I do not. I'll end on this note, though. The whole grabbing a girl's hips while she's on all fours in front of you to pilot the robot thing, that's not really... I mean, that's not part of this first episode. You might even miss it. There's like one flashback to the kid hero remembering how he failed, and so there's a quick clip of that, but yeah, other than that, it's not shown. Although they do reveal that the male and female pairs in the piloting robot are referred to as pistils and stamens. Do you get it? Do you get it? Darling in the Franxx. Because subtext is for losers.